Well, back out here this morning, got me a new chain put on the saw. We'll go over there, finish cutting all those logs up, get that stuff stacked up, and then grab all those stumps, put them over there in the pile. Probably go ahead and grab this pile right here and take it down, or take it over there to that lower one. I was thinking about piling it up and burning it, but I'll just take it over there and not deal with all the smoke this morning. And get this cleared off and graded off enough for the log truck to get in here. logs to cut up, then I'm gonna rake all this mess up. Probably making this burn pile way too big, but I'm stacking it on here. Yesterday while it was burning. There's a lot of stuff to transfer over. That might be enough stuff for the fire. You just put the rest over there and add to it. I think I'm going to take the rest and just pile it up over here to the side for now. We'll grab these stumps and pile them up right there. That was a little violent. And that way when I'm burning that pile, it'll kind of separate it out, maybe not spread the fire. I don't know how long it's going to be before it's ready to burn into that pile. I'm trying to just pile this up over here to the side so that that one doesn't get so huge. This is like the perfect dirt for using this rake. It's real sandy. You can just rake right through this stuff. So I actually like using the old machine better, 220 here. I don't know why, it just seems to be a smoother machine. I really like this one better for clearing. Maybe it's just because we've spent so many hours in it. It's got 6,100 or 6,200 hours on it now. So it's been used a lot. We got a lot of seat time in here. I plan to keep on running it. The rest of this stuff, I'm just going to kind of lightly rake over everything. I'll bring the dozer over here eventually and root rake, with that it'll be a lot faster, but at least get everything kind of knocked down so the truck can make it in here. Pile because it's not like it's gonna flare up and get to burning too fast. I'm hoping when I do burn, the wind is blowing in that direction. Well, that was short this morning. A couple hours here. Got everything cut up. Log truck's gonna come later this afternoon and get that load of stuff. At least I don't have to worry about trying to burn all that. Got everything piled up into a big pile back here and kind of rake through everything. So this section right here is done, and I'm gonna head over there to the other big clearing job and start getting started on that. It needs to rain before I can set that on fire, and I need to get with the owner and look at the other areas he wants cleared. That way we're all on the same page. Back over here, got the 220 fueled up and greased. Pulled the 350 out, did the same for it. And I'm gonna put the stumper on here now, run over here and dig up some of these stumps on the edge, then jump on the 220 and move all that brush out of the way, kind of start stacking it up and working my way back that way. So the truck spun and created some big ruts. So he's gonna drag it with the skidder now. And now the stone's loose. Probably just gonna have to push the truck up the hill. I don't have anything better than that to drag with, so once he pushes the truck up the hill, well, here's my welder here now, so I probably won't, but we'll track that hillside in. So you do such a good job, you gave me an extra one, right?
Absolutely. Now look, we cut out 4 and ended up with 5.
That's a spare, so
that's
when
a spare.
I get too overzealous.
That's right. Austin's getting ready to weld on some dentist work. He usually teaches welding, but this time he's gonna do a little dentistry.
Okay.
Yeah,
we're gonna add a little more points to the thumb there.
That's right. That's what welder's fingers look like.
Okay.
Cover.
He's not messing around, is he?
No, he doesn't play. We cut these out of...
you came by here yesterday and
right.
we traced it.
And this is road scraper blade, so it's a harder steel than just regular A36 steel. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come back and we're gonna add right here, we'll weld 70-18 on each side. And then once he's got it welded on, we'll come back and put a hard face on the top, on each side. That way it'll give a little more oomph. And from there, we'll be there.
And then we'll grind it and make it all pretty there so that when I'm staring at it, it looks nice.
No, we don't need that.
Yeah, we do.
When he's done, it'll look pretty all by itself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's right.
And we're not gonna do the middle one because it bumps the bottom of the boom right there. If we add any more length to it, it's just gonna hit worse, so.
More better.
More better.
That's right. So what we did was he took...
Touch it and see if it's warm.
100%, I can feel it right here. Look, I'm smarter than that. Look how burnt I am. What we did is we went all the way around the tooth, and now we're gonna come back with a hard face and go right up the top and this side, and then we'll be in business. Hopefully.
Be in business, perfect.
Till you break it.
Till I break it, I'm not gonna break it. Make it look like it was meant to be.
They're pretty close.
Yep, a couple more little spots, you'll be good to go.
Yeah, that's right. I'll tell you what.
Look factory.
Look.
Why are you sweating?
How did you get me 2 years in a row in between semesters?
I feel like you just took that away from him for the money shot.
Well, that's right. I did. Yeah, Austin, you know, he's the first year instructor at Henderson campus.
So you taught him enough that he can teach people.
That's exactly right. How did you know?
It's like you want him to take your job.
Well, I do. And you know what? You remember last year I was telling you I needed students?
Yeah.
Guess what?
You need them again.
I still need students. I need a job.
You need a job?
Look, he needs a job too.
Yeah, he said he's had enough of you.
He's had enough of me for sure. That's why he's at a different campus.
Yeah.
See,
you need that separation.
I teach the second year at the Lewisburg campus. He teaches the first year at the Henderson campus. We get broke up a little bit.
That's right.
I'm gonna go back to work.
All right, so you got all these welded on here. Can't even hardly tell they added that much to it. I had him do some hard facing on there. That's why it kind of looks a little sloppy there. You actually run beads of the hard facing, and that's supposed to help. It wears a lot slower than regular metal does. So got definitely more of a point right here that's going to wear down regardless of anyways, but at least hopefully I can kind of pinch some logs here a little bit better now. Working over here, getting some of these stumps up now. Kind of working around the areas they have cut. And I'm going to stump an area right here, and then I'll pile all the brush up over top of this. I got a big pile right here. That way all the brush is piled up on a cleared area. A lot of people sometimes will screw up and pile all the brush up over top of an area, and then once you burn it, there's stumps left. And then you've got nothing to burn the stumps with. It's always best to stump the area first where you're going to be piling everything up at. So that is my plan right here, to get this opened up so I can start making a burn pile. Kind of work this area right here, so then I can come in here and stack all this brush up and focus on getting all this cleaned up this weekend. Try to dig that one up here in a second. $3.50 is the ticket though for pulling stumps. No comparison. good. Start stacking this brush up into a pile here to be able to burn it and open up some more real estate to stump. Oh, there's a big stump right there. Stuff stacked up. I didn't find all these stumps then. They're going to come and weld my tines on the end of my thumb after lunch, so I want to try to get done with this machine. It'll obviously be down while they do that. I'm hoping it just kind of gives me a little bit more grabbing force there, just because I'm going to kind of put more of a point on it so it kind of bites into logs a little better. Alright, well I'm going to work on cleaning up around this pile so that I can work on the stumps when I get back from lunch. Try to get as much of this stuff cleaned up the rest of the week as I can. Got to get off this job and get on to the next one. I was supposed to start it end of this month. I got a big lake to build. This job has just been dragging out with the weather. But that's how it goes. stack some brush up here now. So I ran through there with the D6 as you saw and kind of pushed all that brush down here to the pile. And also uncovered those stumps, which is going to allow me to stump that a lot easier now that all this isn't mixed in. See if Kevin can maybe on the next stuff cut those stumps a little bit lower. Some of those a little tall to be jumping over with the dozer, but it works so good just to take the dozer. It literally takes like 10 or 15 minutes to push through there and get those stumps up, or not the stumps up, but the brush up between the stumps. And then make a wall of brush right here and just pick through it with the excavator and get the dirt out of it. Stack everything up into the burn pile. And then tomorrow, Robert will be helping me. I'll let him run this machine. I'll go through there and pluck stumps up, and he can come behind me and pick them all up, throw them into piles, and knock dirt off of them. And kind of sort through the brush as well and get it stacked up. So we should get a lot done tomorrow, I would think. I'll get him to take that brush pile that's behind me too, and I'll probably bring the rake for this excavator over here from the other job. It's right down the road. It'll probably be helpful to have the rake where he can sort through this stuff a little bit easier. You do get less dirt in with it. It's not as easy to clear with it, I don't think, as the bucket, but you do get less dirt in it raking through it like this. Save this stuff right here for the rake tomorrow. It'll be easier to pick through it with that. thumb tines, as you can see. Definitely add a little bit more to it, so I'm happy with that. It does seem like on the stumps I can grab those a little bit better. It didn't take much, it just needed a little bit more of a point on it. But it was definitely getting frustrating trying to like grab logs, and like especially if I was going to like sweep the ground with it, I just couldn't, it just wouldn't stay in the bucket. So I'll wait until I can find a log somewhere and try it with that and see how well it works. good day today. For the afternoon I worked over here, I was able to get all of that brush piled up into a pile, all those stumps dug up and everything raked up there. So we'll start back in the morning digging all those stumps up. I'll let Robert take that brush pile it all up into that one, and then clean up behind me there. All right, Kurt's here with the log truck. I'm gonna get over here and set up. He's going to pull in here and we'll get loaded up. See if we can get home before 6 o'clock. That one down. There we go, like so. If you notice, I try to get them all fairly even on the end right here. That way when I go and grab them, this makes life a little bit easier loading them. Into that one stuck in there. There we go. Come on, hung up down there on the end, but I guess that'll be all right. Come on, logs, being aggravating. Now let me just get, now they're all out and uneven. right, let me finish. I do believe that's a full load. Managed to get every single one I cut, so I'm getting pretty good at estimating the truckload now. Heading out. Pretty decent load. It's easier to get rid of it that way than try to break it all up and burn it, especially when I only make 2 cuts per tree. That whole cutting it up into little logs, that's for the birds. That's when it ends up in the fire. So, all right, I'm gonna put the rake on the trailer so I can take it to the other job and roll on.